history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My
Welcome to Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man. I'm Stephen Lee. We're finally doing an episode on UFOs, aliens, and extraterrestrial life. Since the dawn of human civilization, the night sky has been a canvas of mystery, a vast, dark theater where countless stars pirouette in cosmic silence. Somewhere in that boundless expanse, the question lingers: are we alone? The allure of the unknown has captivated our imagination for millennia, and few subjects ignite our curiosity quite like UFOs, aliens, and extraterrestrial life. From ancient cave paintings which that some speculate depict otherworldly visitors, to modern-day seismic waves of digital reports and videos flooding the internet, our fascination with what might be refuses to fade. It's a passion rooted deeply in the human psyche, a yearning to explore not only outer space but also the boundaries of belief and skepticism. The very term UFO, or unidentified flying object, has evolved from a phrase conjuring whimsical wonder to a topic swimming in government documents, scientific debate, and cultural myth. The skies have repeatedly delivered flashes of the inexplicable, igniting waves of sightings, theories, and controversies worldwide, from that famous Roswell incident in New Mexico to recent Pentagon confirmations. Each story adds a thread to the elaborate fabric of our collective curiosity. Yet the story of extraterrestrial life isn't only about lights in the sky or shadowy figures glimpsed in the periphery. It is a mirror reflecting our hopes and fears. The slender possibility that life, intelligent, curious, and possibly vastly different from ourselves, exists beyond Earth tugs at both our optimism and our dread. What if they are already here? What if they are watching, or maybe, just maybe, they are waiting for us to reach out first? Popular culture has played no small part in shaping how we perceive these otherworldly possibilities. The silver screen and pages of science fiction literature have heralded extraterrestrial beings as heroes, villains, enigmatic forces beyond comprehension. Recall classics like The X-Files, where the question, "the truth is out there," turned from mere tagline to a cultural rallying cry. Or think of Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where humans confront both wonder and fear amid silent, glowing visitors. But beneath entertainment's surface lies something far more compelling: the ongoing pursuit of truth. Throughout history, eyewitness accounts from pilots, astronauts, and civilians alike have contributed to an ever growing puzzle that refuses to be neatly shelved away. Scientific endeavors, from the search for extraterrestrial intelligence SETI to NASA's mission scanning for life-friendly exoplanets, demonstrate that the question is as serious as it is sensational. Within this podcast, Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man, we invite you to join a reflective journey through the shadows and lights of these mysteries. Together, we'll explore historical encounters, dissect government disclosures, and unravel the tangled web of cultural narratives surrounding UFO and aliens. We won't merely dwell on belief. We'll traverse skepticism alongside open-minded inquiry, embracing complexity rather than easy answers. So, what fuels this obsession with the unknown? Perhaps our inherent desire to place ourselves in the grand cosmic story, is to know if we share the universe with other wanderers seeking meaning, connection, or survival. Maybe it's the thrill of wondering if the sky is less a boundary and more an invitation. Or maybe, as the cigarette smoking man himself might muse, it's simply the human condition to question what lies beyond the veil. The enduring enigma of UFO sightings. Throughout recorded history, there have been flickers and flashes of strange lights and airborne phenomena that defy conventional explanation. Ancient texts and folklore from diverse cultures often described sky people or star visitors who came bearing knowledge or warnings. In medieval tapestries and Renaissance paintings, some scholars speculate hidden clues hint at cosmic contact, through those skeptics warn against reading too much into symbolism. Fast forward to the 20th century, where a modern era of UFO sightings took flight alongside advances in aviation and new technologies. Incidents like the 1947 Roswell crash ignited wildfire rumors and conspiracy theories that continue to smolder today. Governments, initially dismissive or secretive, have gradually revealed certain investigations, but the veil of mystery endures, sticking public intrigue and suspicion in equal measure. Despite decades of investigation and hundreds of reported encounters, definitive proof remains elusive. The rolling tension between evidence and skepticism only deepens the enigma, keeping the door open for endless exploration and discussion, which is exactly where our musings begin. Cultural impact and the power of imagination. Beyond mere sightings and scientific inquiry, UFOs and extraterrestrials have etched themselves deeply in the mosaic of global culture. They shape arts, politics, philosophy, and technology, acting as a canvas onto which we project our deepest hopes and fears. They challenge traditional narratives about our place in the universe, inviting us to reconsider not just what exists beyond Earth, but what it means to be human. With every reported encounter and every theory debated, we participate in a broader dialogue that blurs the line between the known and the unknown. And it is in this dialogue that the Musings of the Cigarette Smoking Man podcast seeks to embrace, encouraging listeners to sift through mystery, myth, and measured thought with a curious mind and open heart. So spark one up, or better yet, brew a cup of coffee, and prepare to peer into the vast cosmic abyss. In the episode to come, we'll unravel stories both eerie and enlightening, examine official accounts and personal testimonies, and ponder the possibility that the ultimate truth might just be stranger than fiction. Historical overview of UFO sightings and alien encounters. Ah, history. They say it's written by the victors. Perhaps the cosmos has its own silent scribes, documenting visitors we barely understood, if at all. Our journey into the unknown requires looking back, tracing the faint signals and jarring incidents that pepper humanity's timeline, from whispers in ancient texts to flashing lights in the modern sky. The story of possible extraterrestrial visitation is a long, winding, and often frustrating one. We touched briefly on the idea of ancient accounts in the introduction, the vague mentions of sky people or unusual celestial phenomena woven into mythology and early art. While interpreting these through a modern lens of UFOs is speculative, often dismissed as misinterpretations of astronomical events, religious visions, or simple storytelling, they do reveal a consistent human tendency to look towards the heavens for answers, for meaning, and for sometimes for visitors. Whether it's fiery chariots or divine messengers, the idea of powerful beings arriving from the sky is deeply embedded in our collective consciousness. The modern era takes flight post World War II sightings. The modern era of UFO sightings truly kicked off in the mid 20th century, propelled by rapid advancements in aviation technology, heightened global tensions during the Cold War, and perhaps a world suddenly much smaller and more interconnected, making unusual sightings more easily shared. One pivotal moment occurred in June 24th, 1947. Civilian pilot Kenneth Arnold was flying near Mount Rainier, Washington, when he spotted 9 shiny disc-like objects moving at incredible speed. He described their motion as like a saucer skipping over water. A journalist coined the term flying saucer, and just like that, a cultural icon was born. Arnold's sighting wasn't the first unusual aerial report, but its vivid description and subsequent media frenzy ignited a wave of similar reports across the United States. The term UFO, unidentified flying object, was officially coined by the U.S. Air Force in 1953, a more neutral term than flying saucer. Iconic cases: Roswell and Phoenix lights. Of all the incidences, perhaps none looms larger in the public imagination than one near Roswell, New Mexico, also in the summer of 1947. The initial story, reported by the Roswell Daily Record, described the recovery of a flying disc by the military. This was quickly retracted the next day, with the military stating that the recovered object was merely a weather balloon. The swift, and some would say heavy-handed retraction fueled decades of speculation and mistrust. Original press release headline: July 8, 1947. Roswell Army Airfield captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. The official story evolved over the years from a weather balloon to a Project Mogul balloon, a top secret project using balloons to detect Soviet nuclear tests. However, the initial excitement, the swift change in narrative, and persistent rumors of strange debris and non human bodies recovered by the military solidified Roswell as a cornerstone of modern UFO conspiracy theories. It became synonymous with government cover-ups and the alleged presence of extraterrestrial visitors. The town of Roswell itself embraced this legacy, becoming a hub for UFO tourism. Another case etched into modern UFO history is the Phoenix Lights incident. On the night of March 13th, 1997, thousands of people across Arizona and Nevada reported seeing large, silent, V-shaped or triangular formations of lights, as well as stationary bright orbs moving slowly across the sky. The objects were observed over several hours. Official explanations ranged from flares dropped by the military or to civilian planes. However, the sheer number of witnesses, their consistent descriptions, and the duration and nature of the sightings have led many to reject these explanations. Then Governor of Arizona, Fife Symington III, famously had a press conference where his chief of staff dressed in an alien costume to mock the idea of alien visitation. But years later, Sigmian himself admitted he saw large, unidentifiable objects in the night. He couldn't explain it, calling it otherworldly. The Phoenix Lights remains one of the most compelling mass sightings of the modern era. Government response and evolving terminology. The U.S. government's response to UFOs has shifted over time, often seemingly driven by public pressure or the need to explain incidents. Early projects like Project Sign, 1947, Project Grudge, 1949, and most famously Project Blue Book, 1952 to 69, were established by the Air Force to collect, analyze, and evaluate UFO reports. Project Blue Book, headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, investigated thousands of reports. Its stated goals were to determine if UFOs were a threat to national security and to scientifically analyze sightings. While the project officially concluded that most sightings were misidentifications of conventional objects or phenomena or hoaxes, a small percentage remain unexplained. Critics argue that the project was primarily aimed at debunking sightings and reassuring the public rather than conducting genuine open investigation. After Blue Book, the official U.S. government stance was largely dismissive for decades, though unofficial or covert interests may have continued. However, recent years have seen a significant shift, fueled by leaking videos showing encounters between Navy pilots and inexplicable aerial phenomena and pressures from Congress. The Pentagon established the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon UAP Task Force, UAPTF, in 2020, succeeded by the Airborne Object Identification and Management Group, AOIMSG, in 2021, and currently the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, in 2022. The terminology itself has evolved from flying saucer to UFO, and now more commonly in official circles UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, or sometimes UPA, unidentified anomalous phenomenon, to include submerged or transmedium objects. This shift might seem semantic, but it signifies a recognition by official bodies that there are indeed phenomena observed in controlled airspace that cannot be readily identified and require further investigation, acknowledging the reality of these observations, if not their origin. Recent declassified reports, such as the unclassified UAP assessment released on June 2021, reviewed 144 reports from U.S. government sources. While the report did not conclude the phenomenon were extraterrestrial, it could only confidently explain one case, identified as a deflating balloon. The vast majority remain unexplained, categorized as unidentified aerial phenomena, noting that they probably do not represent a single type of airborne object, and highlighting challenges in data collection and analysis. The official acknowledgement of persistent unexplained aerial phenomena is a significant historical development, moving the conversation from fringe conspiracy to mainstream government concern. Other notable historical incidences. While Roswell and Phoenix Lights are perhaps the most famous, the historical record is littered with other intriguing cases that have contributed to the narrative. Mantell Incident, 1948. Captain Thomas Mantell, a Kentucky Air National Guard pilot, crashed and died while pursuing a large metallic object in the sky. The official explanation was that he was chasing the planet Venus and passed out from lack of oxygen at high altitude, a controversial conclusion. Lubbock Lights, 1951. A formation of lights in a distinct V shape was seen by multiple credible witnesses, including university professors over Lubbock, Texas. Photographs were taken, though their authenticity has been debated. Washington, D.C. Flap, 1952. A series of radar and visual sightings of unexplained objects over the nation's capital prompted military jets to be scrambled. The incidents caused significant public alarm and led to the largest press conference held by the Air Force since World War II. The Air Force eventually attributed these sightings to temperature inversions causing radar anomalies, a claim widely criticized by witnesses and some investigators. Kecksburg incident, 1965. Something described as an acorn-shaped metallic about the size of a small car reportedly crashed in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. The military quickly secured the area and allegedly removed an object, claiming only that they found nothing or just meteorological debris. Belgian UFO wave, 1989 to 1990. A sustained wave of sightings of large, silent, low-flying triangular objects across Belgium. This led to investigations by the Belgian Air Force, including radar detections and photographic evidence like the famous Petit Richin photograph. Though later claimed by some to be a hoax, the radar tracks and numerous witness accounts remain significant. Aerial school incident, 1994. Over 60 school children in Ruwa, Zimbabwe, reported seeing a large craft land near their school and witnessed beings emerge from it. Their detailed and consistent accounts, often accompanied by drawings, are considered highly compelling by some researchers. These cases, and many others, form a complex tapestry of unexplained events, fueling, fueling speculation, research, and a debate across decades. And also, something I like to say is that we have been like playing um with like extreme belief with military applications for a long time. Even in World War II, we would like project images of the Virgin Mary by projectors over the trenches, and that has just developed with technology and time to possibly include UFOs and other things like that. The shaping public perception and popular culture. The cumulative effect of these sightings, the often conflicting official explanations, and the persistent rumors of secret government knowledge has profoundly shaped public perception. It has fostered a deep vein of skepticism towards official narratives and nurtured a fertile ground for conspiracy theories. The idea of a cover up is now intrinsically linked to the UFO phenomenon. The historical narrative has also been a goldmine for popular culture. Movies like The Day the Earth Stood Still, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and blockbusters like Independence Day have explored various facets of alien visitation, from benevolent contact to terrifying invasion. Television series, most notably The X-Files, directly tapped into the Roswell legacy and government cover-up trope, popularizing terms like the truth is out there, and the archetypal smoking man figure who pulls the strings behind the scenes. Science fiction literature, music, video games, and art have all drawn inspiration from UFO sightings and the potential for alien life. This cultural penetration means that even those who don't actually actively follow UFOlogy are aware of the concepts and key incidences. The gray alien image is instantly recognizable, a product of alleged abduction accounts and popular depiction. Their constant presence in media reinforces the subject's relevance and keeps the public curious, or at least passively aware, that strange things might be happening in our skies. The historical overview reveals not just a series of unexplained incidents, but a dynamic and interplay between observed phenomena, official responses, public curiosity, and cultural interpretation. It's a story of mystery, skepticism, belief, and the enduring human desire to understand our place in a potentially crowded universe. The recent official shift in acknowledging UAPs suggests that its historical narrative is far from over. It's merely entering a new, perhaps more intriguing chapter. All right, let's talk about the suits. The men and women behind the desks in the bunkers, holding the stamps that decide what the public sees and what remains classified. If there are things flying around in our skies that we don't understand, you can bet the powers that be have taken notice. The question is, what have they done? What do they know? And more importantly, what are they telling us? The relationship between governments, particularly in the United States government, and the UFO phenomenon is long, complex, and riddled with contradictions. It oscillates between outright denial, reluctant investigation, and more recently, a cautious acknowledgement that there are indeed things out there that defy easy explanation. The early projects, from curiosity to control. Immediately following the wave of sightings in the late 1940s, fueled by Kenneth Arnold in the Roswell incident The U.S. military couldn't simply ignore the reports. Pilots, radar operators, and citizens were seeing things. This led to the establishment of official reports and projects aimed at understanding what was happening. First came Project Sign in 1947, established by the U.S. Air Force. Its goal was straightforward: investigate the flying saucer reports. Based on initial findings, Project Sign reportedly produced a highly controversial document known as the Estimate of the Situation. While exact contents are debated, some accounts suggest it concluded that the best explanation for some of the inexplicable reports was extraterrestrial origin. This conclusion was allegedly rejected by higher command as too sensitive or lacking sufficient proof, and the project was subsequently reined in. Project Sign evolved into Project Grudge in 1949. The name itself perhaps suggests a shift in tone. Grudge was criticized for its apparent predetermined conclusions that UFOs were not a serious threat and most sightings could be explained conventionally. Critics felt it was less about investigation and more about public relations and debunking. The significant increase in sightings in 1952, especially the radar and visual flap over Washington, D.C., forced the Air Force to take the phenomenon more seriously, or at least appear to. This led to the creation of Project Blue Book in 1952, headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. Blue Book became the most famous of the early government UFO studies. Project Blue Book, 1952 to 1969. Project Blue Book had a clear mandate: 1. To investigate and analyze UFO reports, to determine if UFOs were a threat to national security, to scientifically analyze data related to UFOs. Over its 17-year lifespan, Project Blue Book collected and analyzed over 12,000 UFO reports. The majority were eventually attributed to known phenomena: planes, balloons, stars, cloud, hoaxes, etc. However, a significant percentage, officially around 5.9% according to the project's final report, remained unexplained. These cases were categorized as unidentified. The project faced significant criticism throughout its existence. Many felt its primary goal was to debunk sightings and reassure the public rather than conduct impartial scientific research. Skeptics argued that the methods were flawed and rushed, and that the explanations given for some famous cases, like the Mantell incident or the Washington, D.C. flap, were inadequate or misleading. The public's trust in Blue Book's findings were often low, fueling the burgeoning idea of a government cover up. In 1969, based on the recommendation of the Condon Committee, which controversially concluded that further study of UFOs was unlikely to yield significant scientific findings, the Air Force officially terminated Project Blue Book. The official stance became that UFOs posed no threat to national security, and there was no evidence suggesting that they were extraterrestrial craft. For decades, this remained the default public position of the U.S. government. The long silence and the quiet resurgence. Following the closure of Blue Book, official government interest in UFOs, at least publicly, seemed to vanish. The topic was largely relegated to the fringes, pursued by civilian researchers and enthusiasts. However, rumors persisted, often fueled by alleged leaks and former officials speaking out. The covert study continued within the military and intelligence communities, often under different names and deep within classified programs. This period of official silence lasted for decades, punctuated only by occasional, often dismissive statements from government representatives. Meanwhile, sightings continued, technology advanced, leading to better cameras and tracking, and the internet allowed the global sharing of information and speculation on an unprecedented scale. The quiet changed significantly in the late 2010s. Recent efforts towards transparency or controlled disclosure? Question mark. A pivotal moment occurred in 2017 when the New York Times published articles revealing the existence of a secretive Pentagon program called Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP, funded between 2007 and 2012 with $22 million at the request of Senator Harry Reid. ATIP's purpose was to investigate unidentified aerial phenomenon. Accompanying ATIP revelations were stunning declassified videos from U.S. Navy fighter jets showing encounters with UAPs exhibiting capabilities far beyond known conventional aircraft. These videos, nicknamed Tic Tac, Go Fast, and Gimbal, were later officially acknowledged as genuine by the Navy and the Pentagon. They showed objects performing maneuvers that defied physics as we understand it, captured by sophisticated military sensor systems and observed by highly trained personnel. The combination of the ATIP reveal, the verified videos, and the increasing pressure from Congress led to a dramatic shift in the official approach. The term UFO began to be replaced by UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, in official disclosure, signaling a deliberate move away from the cultural baggage of flying saucers and towards a more technical, less sensational term. In August 2020, the Department of Defense established the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, UAPTF, housed within the Office of Naval Intelligence. Its mission was to detect, analyze, and catalog UAPs that could potentially pose a threat to U.S. national security. This was a significant admission. The government was not only investigating, but viewing these phenomena through a national security lens. The UAPTF was succeeded by the Airborne Object Identification and Management Group, OAIMSG, in 2021, and then by the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, in July of 2022. The name change to All Domain reflects an expanded scope, including potential unidentified objects in space, air, and underwater. Transmedium phenomena. AARO is the current official body responsible for receiving, analyzing, and reporting on UAP incidents across the entire U.S. government and military. The 2021 UAP report. Perhaps the most tangible result of this renewed official interest was the release of the unclassified version of the Preliminary Assessment Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon report in June 2021. This report reviewed 144 UAP incidents reported by the U.S. government personnel, primarily Navy pilots, between 2004 and 2021. Key takeaways from the report include only one of the 144 reports could confidently be explained as a deflating balloon. The vast majority, 143 cases, remain unexplained and were categorized as unidentified aerial phenomena. The report noted that UAPs probably do not represent a single type of airborne object. It highlighted challenges in data collection due to stigma and lack of standardized reporting mechanisms. It stated that some UAPs appeared to demonstrate advanced capabilities or characteristics, such as unusual propulsion or maneuvering, though detailed analysis was hampered by limited data. Crucially, the report did not rule out extraterrestrial origin, but stated more data was needed to draw conclusions about the nature or intent of UAPs. While some found the reporting underwhelming for not providing definitive answers, the very act of the U.S. government officially acknowledging hundreds of unexplained aerial incidents and treating them as a legitimate area of inquiry, potentially related to national security, was historic. It moved the conversation out of the realm of pure conspiracy theory and into the halls of Congress and the Pentagon. What is known versus what remains classified. So, what do governments actually know? This is the heart of the mystery for many. What is officially known, acknowledged publicly? Unidentified aerial phenomena exist and are observed in military airspace. These phenomena are not easily explained as conventional aircraft, known natural phenomena, or foreign adversary technology, though this is still considered. There are challenges in collecting sufficient high-quality data due to historical stigma and technical limitations. These phenomena are being studied by official government bodies like AARO. Some incidents involve objects exhibiting capabilities that are difficult to understand based on current physics or known technology. What remains classified slash unknown or heavily speculated. The ultimate origin or nature of these phenomena, i.e., terrestrial advanced technology, foreign adversary technology, slash, or non-human intelligence. Detailed data from vast majority of specific incidents beyond summary statistics. Any potential retrieved physical evidence or materials. The existence of specifics of any historical recovery operations like Roswell, if anything beyond a balloon was recovered. The results of any in-depth scientific analysis of the observed phenomenon's characteristics, any potential communication attempts or interactions, the full extent of historical government knowledge or involvement prior to the recent disclosures. The gap between the officially acknowledged unknowns and the persistent rumors, leaks, and whistleblower claims is vast. This gap is where speculation thrives. Why the secrecy? National security concerns are always cited. The need to understand if this is potential adversary technology or if revealing vulnerabilities in detection systems would be detrimental. There's also the historical fear of causing public panic, though this seems less likely in a world saturated with sci-fi. Perhaps the simplest explanation is a profound lack of understanding, coupled with an unwillingness to admit it publicly. Or perhaps there is something truly extraordinary that governments are struggling to comprehend or control and are simply not ready to reveal. The impact of leaks and whistleblowers. The recent wave of official acknowledgement didn't happen in a vacuum. It was significantly driven by the efforts of individuals who claimed to have inside knowledge and felt compelled to share it. Luis Elizondo, a former head of ATIP, resigned from the Pentagon in 2017 and became a key figure in bringing the UAP issue into the mainstream. He publicly stated that he believes the phenomenon are real, represent advanced technology, and that the government possesses materials that are not of this world. His public profile and credible background forced government officials to address the topic more directly. More recently, David Grush, a former U.S. intelligence officer, came forward as a whistleblower, claiming under oath to Congress that the U.S. government has a multi-decade covert program to retrieve crashed UAP craft and possesses, quote, non-human biologics, end quote. While these claims are highly controversial and not yet substantiated by public evidence, they have a profound impact. Grush's testimony, alongside that of former Navy pilots describing their UAP encounters, prompted increased congressional interest and calls for greater transparency and protection for future whistleblowers. The impact of these leaks and whistleblowers is undeniable. They have forced the U.S. government to shift its official stance from dismissal to acknowledgement and formal investigation, increased public awareness, and reduced the stigma associated with reporting UAP sightings, prompted legislative action demanding reports and transparency, like provisions in the annual defense authorization bills, kept pressure on government agencies to release more information. Whether they are revealing pieces of an elaborate cover up or simply shining a light on genuine government confusion and bureaucracy surrounding unexplained phenomena, these individuals have undeniably altered the landscape of the UFO UAP conversation. They represent a challenge to the traditional secrecy apparatus, suggesting that in the age of instant information and determined individuals, some truths, at least some questions, are becoming harder to keep locked away. So while Project Blue Book might be long gone, the files aren't closed. They've just been relabeled, restaffed, and brought, perhaps reluctantly, slightly more into the light. The dance between government control and the persistent enigma of what's in our skies continues, and the truth, as always, remains somewhere within that carefully guarded space between the classified and the revealed. Scientific perspectives on extraterrestrial life. We've peered into the history, sifted through the government documents, and pondered the enigmatic lights in the sky. But what does rigorous science have to say about the possibility of life on Earth? Beyond Earth? It's a question that moves from the realm of speculation and anecdote into the meticulous work of laboratories, telescopes, and probes. While the historic narrative is filled with unexplained aerial phenomena, the scientific search for extraterrestrial life operates on different principles entirely, demanding empirical evidence and testable hypotheses. For much of human history, pondering life beyond Earth was purely philosophical or theological. Was the moon inhabited? Were the stars populated? These were questions for poets and priests, not chemists and astronomers. With the advent of modern science, particularly astronomy and biology, has transformed this ancient wonder into a legitimate, albeit challenging, field of scientific inquiry. The field of astrobiology. Enter astrobiology. It's relatively young, interdisciplinary field that studies the origins, evolution, distribution, and future of life in the universe. It's not just about finding aliens. It's a grand synthesis of astronomy, biology, chemistry, geology, and physics, all focused on answering three fundamental questions. How does life begin and evolve? Is there life beyond Earth? What is the future of life on Earth and beyond? Astrobiology operates on the foundational understanding of life as we know it. While scientists are open to the possibility of life based on different chemistry, the search primarily focuses on environments and conditions suitable for carbon based life, which requires liquid water as a solvent and an energy source, like a star's light or chemical energy. These fundamental requirements shape where and how scientists look. The core principle is that physical and chemical laws that govern life on Earth are likely universal if the right conditions exist elsewhere. the right chemistry, temperature range for liquid water, energy gradient, then life could potentially arise following the same processes that led to life here. The search for biosignatures. How do scientists look for life, especially if it's not waving hello or broadcasting radio signals? They search for biosignatures, any substance or phenomenon that proves scientific evidence of past or present life. Think of them as clues left behind by biological processes. The most promising biosignatures are often sought in the atmospheres of exoplanets. When a planet passes in front of its star, some of the starlight filters through the planet's atmosphere. By analyzing the spectrum of this light, scientists can identify which gases are present. Certain combinations of gases, particularly those that wouldn't naturally coexist in equilibrium without a constant biological source, could be strong indicators of life. For example, Earth's atmosphere contains large amounts of oxygen and methane simultaneously. These gases react with each other and wouldn't persist in significant quantities over geological timescales without life. Plants and microbes producing oxygen, microbes producing methane. Finding a similar imbalance in an exoplanet's atmosphere would be incredibly exciting, though not definitive proof of its own. Other potential atmospheric biosignatures include nitrous oxide, methyl halidase, or even complex organic molecules. Beyond atmospheric composition, biosignatures could also include surface features, pigments reflecting light in unusual ways, like chlorophyll, or macroscopic structures, though finding artificial structures is currently science fiction. Isotopic ratios. Living organisms often prefer lighter isotopes of elements during metabolic processes, leaving telltale ratios in minerals or organic matter. Complex organic molecules. While organic molecules can form biologically, certain complex structures or distributions might point to biological processes. The search for biosignatures requires incredibly powerful telescopes and sophisticated analytical techniques. Current telescopes like the Hubble Space Telescope and the Spitzer Space Telescope have provided hints, but the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, with its ability to analyze infrared light, is far more capable of probing exoplanet atmospheres for these faint chemical signatures. Future telescopes are being designed with even more advanced biosignature detection capabilities. Exoplanet discoveries, widening the scope. One of the most significant drivers of astrobiology has been the explosive discovery of exoplanets, planets orbiting stars other than the Sun. Just a few decades ago, we only knew of planets in our own solar system. As of late 2023, thanks primarily to missions like NASA's Kepler Space Telescope and the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite (TESS), we know of over 5,500 confirmed exoplanets, with thousands more candidates awaiting confirmation. This sheer number is profound. It tells us that the planet formation is common. Crucially, these discoveries include many rocky Earth-sized planets, some located within their star's habitable zone, sometimes called the Goldilocks zone, the range of orbital distances where temperatures could allow for liquid water on the surface. The discovery of habitable zone exoplanets doesn't mean they are inhabited, or even that they are inhabitable. Atmospheric composition, geological activity, and other factors play a huge role, but it confirms that the places where life as we know it could potentially exist are abundant across the galaxy. This moves the question from are there any places for life to is life actually in those places? Future telescopes will be critical for characterizing these promising exoplanets. JWST, James Webb Space Telescope, and upcoming missions aim not just to find them, but to analyze their atmospheres for biosignatures, offering the first direct scientific evidence, if found, of life beyond our solar system. The search on our doorstep, Mars exploration. While exoplanets offer the possibility of finding current or past life far away, our own solar system offers closer targets, particularly Mars. Scientists believe that early Mars was much warmer and wetter than it is today, with lakes, rivers, and perhaps even an ocean. These conditions could have been ripe for the emergence of microbial life billions of years ago. NASA's Mars exploration program has long been guided by the strategy follow the water. Missions like Curiosity and Perseverance rovers are exploring ancient lake beds and river deltas, searching for evidence of past habitability and, crucially, looking for organic molecules, the building blocks of life, the potential biosignatures in rocks and soil. Perseverance is even collecting samples that are planned to be returned to Earth in the future for detailed analysis, samples that could potentially contain fossilized evidence of ancient Martian microbes. Beyond Mars, other moons in the outer solar system are also prime targets for astrobiological investigation. Moons like Europa, orbiting Jupiter, and Enceladus, orbiting Saturn, are believed to harbor vast oceans of liquid water beneath their icy crusts, kept warm by tidal forces. These subsurface oceans, potentially rich in minerals and chemical energy, could be viable habitats for microbial life. Future missions are being planned to explore these ocean worlds, perhaps even sampling the plumes of water vapor that Enceladus vents into space. The search for life in our solar system is primarily a search for microbial life, either ancient or extant in subsurface environments. This is considered much more probable than finding complex or intelligent life within our cosmic neighborhood. SETI, listening for intelligence. The search for intelligent life falls under the umbrella of the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI. Unlike astrobiology, which seeks any form of life, SETI specifically listens for artificial signals, typically radio waves, but also potentially optical flashes that might be sent by a technologically advanced civilization. SETI projects, largely funded by private initiatives, use large radio telescopes like the Allen Telescope Array, or observations piggybacking on large dishes, like Arecibo before its collapse, to scan the skies, targeting stars with potentially habitable planets. They analyze vast amounts of data, looking for non-natural patterns, narrow band signals, pulses, or sequences that couldn't be produced by known astrophysical phenomena. The rationale is that the civilization develops radio technology. Some of its signals might leak into space, or they might intentionally broadcast a beacon hoping for contact. This approach famously depicted in stories like Carl Sagan's Contact. SETI faces immense challenges. The universe is vast. Radio frequencies are many, and we don't know if, where, or how other civilizations might choose to communicate, or if they exist at all, or are at the right stage of technological development now for us to detect them. The silence thus far is deafening, but the search continues, driven by profound implications of a positive detection. The famous Drake equation, developed by Frank Drake in 1961, provides a framework for estimating the number of active communicative extraterrestrial civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy. SETI represents the long shot, the search for the most advanced and perhaps rarest form of life. Astrobiology, with its focus on microbial life and biosignatures, is seen by many scientists as a more achievable goal in the near to medium term. Debates and skepticism within science. While the search for extraterrestrial life is a legitimate scientific pursuit, it is also one surrounded by significant challenges and healthy skepticism within the scientific community. One major debate is the focus: microbial versus intelligent life. As mentioned, finding microbial life is considered far more probable given the likely ubiquity of potentially habitable environments and a relatively lower hurdle for simple life to emerge compared to complex intelligence. Resources for astrobiology primarily flow towards missions searching for past or present microbial life in our solar system, or biosignatures in exoplanets' atmospheres, rather than solely funding SETI. Another significant challenge is a rigorous requirement for evidence. In science, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. A fuzzy photo, an anecdotal report of a light in the sky, or even military radar tracks of unexplained phenomena, while intriguing, do not meet the high bar of evidence needed to conclude extraterrestrial visitation or even the presence of extraterrestrial life. Scientists require repeatable observations, verifiable data collected by calibrated instruments, and testable hypotheses that can be scrutinized by the global scientific community. This is why, despite the recent official acknowledgement of UAPs by governments, most mainstream scientists remain cautious. They are interested in the data, but emphasize the need for more rigorous scientific investigation. The phenomenon, while unexplained yet, could have prosaic explanations. New atmospheric phenomena, misidentified terrestrial objects, such as that haven't fully been explored, or for which data is incomplete or classified. Attributing them to extraterrestrial spacecraft is a leap that science cannot make without far more compelling, verifiable, and non-anecdotal evidence. Funding is also a perpetual challenge. While NASA incorporates astrobiology into its planetary science and astrophysics divisions, dedicating Dedicated funding specifically for the search for extraterrestrial life, especially SETI, has historically been limited compared to other scientific endeavors. It is often seen as high risk, low reward in terms of guaranteed scientific publication output, despite the revolutionary nature of a potential discovery. The vastness of space and time also presents inherent barriers. Distances are immense, making travel or even communication signals take years, decades, or centuries. We might be looking at planets where life existed billions of years ago but is now extinct, or where life is only just beginning. Our window of opportunity to detect technological civilization via SETI might be incredibly small if civilizations don't last long or only use detectable technology for a brief period. Ultimately, scientific research for extraterrestrial life is a patient, incremental process built on observable data, testable theories, and a willingness to follow where the evidence leads, however slowly. It is a search driven by the profound question of whether we are alone, but grounded firmly in the methodologies and skepticism that define scientific inquiry. While the public imagination may be captured by flying saucers and alien visitors, the scientific search is focused on perhaps the less dramatic, but far more scientifically grounded quest for biosignatures and faint whispers of life across the cosmos. Cultural impact of alien and UFO phenomena. All right, let's shift gears slightly. We've talked about the sightings, the history, the government shifting stance, and what science is looking for. But perhaps the most tangible evidence of the UFO and alien phenomena isn't found in radar data or declassified reports, but in our own shared stories, images, and sounds. The ideas of visitors from the stars, whether real or imagined, has burrowed deep into the fertile soil of human culture, influencing everything from blockbuster movies to avant-garde art to religion. Why this deep cultural resonance? Maybe it's the primal fear of the unknown, the other. Maybe it's the hope that we're not alone in this vast cosmic ocean. Or maybe it's simply a compelling canvas on which we project our anxieties, dreams, and societal questions. Whatever the reason, the impact is undeniable. Aliens on the silver screen in television. Movies and television have arguably been the most powerful engines for disseminating and shaping perceptions of extraterrestrial life. In the early days of science fiction cinema, aliens were often portrayed as terrifying invaders, reflections of real world anxieties about invasion and the Cold War other. The War of the Worlds, 1953 film adaptation of H. G. Wells' novel, depicted a brutal, unstoppable Martian invasion, exploiting contemporary fears of annihilation. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956, tapped into paranoia about infiltration and loss of identity, using alien duplicates as a metaphor for societal or political threats. This early trend of hostile aliens eventually made room for more nuanced or even benevolent portrayals. Robert Wise's The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951, offered the stoic Klaatu, a visitor with a warning for humanity, representing superior wisdom and a plea for peace. Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1977, presented aliens not as invaders, but as enigmatic visitors initiating contact through light, sound, and wonder, sparking awe and curiosity rather than just fear. Spielberg's later film, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, 1982, offered a heartwarming story of friendship between a human child and a gentle alien botanist, solidifying the image of some aliens as benign, even vulnerable beings. The 1990s brought a resurgence of the conspiracy theme, largely thanks to television. The X-Files, 1993 to 2002, became a cultural touchstone, popularizing the idea of a shadowy government cover-up of the alien visitations problem, genetic experimentation, and hybridization. Its enduring tagline, "The truth is out there," perfectly captured the public's simultaneous fascination and distrust regarding the topic. The show heavily referenced real-world UFO incidents like Roswell and popularized the image of the gray alien. Later blockbusters like Independence Day, 1996, returned to the large-scale invasion narratives, while films like District 9, 2009, used alien visitors as a powerful allegory for social and political issues. The Marvel Cinematic Universe and other contemporary sci-fi franchises routinely feature diverse alien races, integrating them into a complex cosmic narrative, normalizing the concept of extraterrestrial life for a massive global audience. Literature, from pulp sci-fi to a philosophical inquiry. Science fiction literature provided a fertile ground for exploring alien concepts long before movies could visually render them convincingly. Early pulp magazines and novels featured daring explorers encountering strange beings on distant worlds, often reflecting contemporary attitudes towards exploration and colonization. H. G. Wells' aforementioned The War of the Worlds, 1898, was foundational, establishing the trope of advanced hostile aliens. Authors like Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke, and Robert A. Heinlein, the big three of the golden age of science fiction, explored diverse alien forms and societies, pondering the challenges and possibilities of contact. Clarke's Childhood's End, for example, features seemingly benevolent but ultimately mysterious alien overlords guiding humanity's evolution. Carl Sagan's novel Contact, 1985, later adapted into a major film, focused on the scientific and philosophical implications of receiving a signal from extraterrestrial intelligence, grounded in the principles of SETI. More contemporary authors continue to use aliens as a lens to examine humanity, technology, and existence itself, from the intricate biology of the aliens in Ted Chiang's Story of Your Life, adapted into the film Arrival, to the complex social structures in Cixin Liu's three-body problem. Literature allows for deeper dives into these themes, the philosophical shock of discovering we are not unique, the ethical dilemmas of contact, and the sheer biological and technological diversity possible across the cosmos, and the introspective question of what it means to be human in a universe teeming with others. Music and art, evoking the cosmic mystery. While perhaps less direct than visual or media or literature, music and art have also been significantly influenced by the fascination with space, the unknown, and potential alien encounters. In music, the ambient sounds of space, futuristic synthesizers, and lyrical themes of cosmic travel or alien presence appear across genres. From electronic music and progressive rock, think Pink Floyd's spacey soundscapes, to pop and metal, David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust persona was the ultimate extraterrestrial rock star. Even classical music sometimes evokes the vastness and mystery of the cosmos, the rarely explicit aliens. Art, both traditional and digital, frequently depicts alien landscapes, spacecraft, and beings, from surrealist visions to detailed science fiction illustrations found in book covers and magazines. Artists give form to the imagination's projections of extraterrestrial life. The iconic gray alien image, the classic saucer shape, and abstract depictions of cosmic energies and intelligences are all part of this visual lexicon. Album covers, concert visuals, and street art sometimes incorporate UFO or alien imagery, tapping into the widespread recognition and intrigue. Common themes explored in the media. Across these various media forms, certain core themes related to aliens and UFOs recur, revealing our collective hopes, fears, and questions. Invasion/hostility. The classic War of the Worlds scenario. Aliens as a monolithic, powerful, and dangerous force seeking conquest, resources, or destruction. This theme often reflects societal anxieties about external threats, the fragility of human civilization. Contact or communication. Stories focusing on the challenges and wonders of first contact. Will it be peaceful or violent? Can we understand each other? This explores the potential for profound cultural exchange, technological advancement, or devastating misunderstanding. Close encounters and contact are prime examples. Conspiracy/slash cover up. The idea is that governments or secret organizations know about the alien presence but are hiding it from the public. Popularized by the X Files, this theme taps into distrust of authority and the allure of forbidden knowledge. It transforms the alien threat from external invaders to hidden internal enemy, those keeping the secret. Enlightenment/slash evolution. Aliens portrayed as more evolved, intelligent, or spiritually advanced beings who come to guide, warn, or even accelerate humanity's development. Sometimes they are saviors, sometimes detached observers of our struggles. The day the earth stood still and childhood's end touch on this. The other in ourselves. Aliens serve as a mirror to reflect upon what it means to be human. By encountering beings vastly different from us, we are forced to confront our own nature, biases, and limitations. This can explore themes of tolerance, empathy, and the universal aspects of life or consciousness. Fear and wonder, the dual emotional response to the unknown. Media oscillates between portraying aliens as nightmare creatures sparking with primal fear and as miraculous visitors inspiring awe and possibility. how media shapes public beliefs and fears. The constant presence of these themes and images in popular culture significantly impacts public perception. For many people, their understanding or misunderstanding of what UFOs or aliens might be comes less from scientific reports or historical incidents and more from the movies, TV shows, and books. Media creates archetypes: the gray alien with large eyes, the flying saucer, the mysterious crop circle, and the government agent in black keeping secrets. These images become instantly recognizable cultural shorthand. Narratives shape expectations. If most movies show invasions, public fear might outweigh curiosity. If they show benevolent beings, hope for peaceful contact might rise. The consistent depiction of cover-ups reinforces public distrust of official explanations. Media can legitimize or sensationalize. By depicting UFOs and aliens, media makes these concepts real within their fictional worlds, which can lead people to take the possibilities more seriously in the real world. Conversely, over sensational or ridiculous portrayals can contribute to the topic being seen as fringe or unserious. Cultural narratives influence memory. Over time, the fictional portrayal can become intertwined with or even override the actual details of historical events like Roswell in the public consciousness. In essence, popular culture acts as both a reflection of our collective anxieties and desires about the cosmos and a powerful force in shaping how we imagine the unknown. It keeps the conversation alive, fuels the imagination, and ensures the question, are we alone, remains one of the most compelling narratives in human history. The stories we tell ourselves about aliens reveal as much about us as they do about the hypothetical beings from beyond the stars. Philosophical and existential questions. As we peer deeper into the star-strewn abyss, contemplating the possibility of extraterrestrial life, we inevitably step into the realm of the philosophical and existential. The existence of aliens is not merely a scientific query or matter of eyewitness testimony. It strikes at the core of humanity's self-understanding, our place in the vast cosmic order, and the frameworks, religious, cultural, philosophical, that have shaped our worldview for millennia. The cosmic perspective. Are we truly alone? One of the most profound shifts brought by the idea of extraterrestrial life is the expansion of so-called cosmic perspective. For centuries, the Copernican revolution dethroned Earth, and by extension humanity, from the universe's center. Yet, even after acknowledging Earth's humble place orbiting an ordinary star in an ordinary galaxy, many have retained an implicit anthropocentrism, the belief that humans are unique and are privileged in the universe. That's my belief actually. Um, the discovery or even the credible evidence of alien civilizations would further dismantle that notion. It would suggest that life, and perhaps intelligence, is not a rare cosmic accident, but a natural, even universal phenomenon. The shift challenges deeply embedded assumptions about the human exceptionalism and forces us to reassess our significance in the grand scheme, if such a thing exists. Philosopher and astrophysicist Carl Sagan once poetically described Earth as a pale blue dot, a tiny stage floating in the sunbeam of the Milky Way galaxy. The realization that intelligent life might exist elsewhere lends humbling context to our struggles and achievements. Are we an isolated speck, or one among many cosmic brethren? Are we the lonely pioneers of consciousness, or part of a vast cosmic community? Implications for human identity and meaning. Should we one day learn of extraterrestrial intelligence, the impact on human identity could be seismic. Our narratives about who we are as individuals and as a species would need reinterpretation in the light of contact with the other. Questions emerge that are both unsettling and exhilarating. What defines humanity when we meet beings fundamentally different in biology, thought, or culture? How does the knowledge of other intelligences affect our sense of uniqueness or specialness? Do our ethical and moral frameworks extend beyond Earth, and on what basis? Some thinkers suggest that encountering alien life forms could catalyze a new phase in human evolution, not just biologically, but culturally and spiritually. We might evolve towards a more inclusive cosmopolitanism, expanding our empathy and understanding beyond our species. Conversely, it might provoke existential anxiety or cultural upheaval, especially if the aliens are perceived as superior or inimical. Existential philosophers ponder whether the awareness of extraterrestrial neighbors would highlight humanity's fragility or resilience. It would confront us with the question of what truly constitutes meaning, and the universe suddenly feels less lonely but also more complex. Religious beliefs and the challenge of the otherworldly. Another profound dimension concerns religion. One of the world's major religion Many of the world's major religions hinge on ideas of creation, humanity's special place, and divine purpose. The unequivocal discovery of extraterrestrial life, especially intelligent beings, could challenge or enrich these theologies and spiritual understandings. Some religious thinkers argue that the existence of aliens would require a re-evaluation of doctrines concerning humanity's relationship with the divine. Would alien beings have souls? Were they part of the divine plan? Would their arrival be a revelation akin to ours, or something entirely different? Different traditions might respond in myriad ways, some incorporating extraterrestrials within their spiritual cosmology, others struggling with doctrinal reinterpretation. The Catholic Church, for instance, has expressed openness to the idea that God could create life elsewhere in the universe without contradiction to faith. Pope Francis has engaged with astronauts and scientists about the implications of life beyond Earth, suggesting that such possibilities do not threaten, but rather enrich spiritual perspectives. Still, the societal impact could be profound. For believers, the confirmed existence of cosmic others might spark renewal, confusion, or doctrinal crisis. For non-believers, it could prompt a reassessment of humanity's place from a secular perspective. Ultimately, the interface between religion and the extraterrestrial could become one of humanity's great intellectual and spiritual dialogues. My personal belief is a biblical one to an extent. I do think the firmament is a real thing and that space is probably not what we think it is. That's just my personal opinion. When the mysteries of the cosmos strike inspiration, you need a trusted companion to capture every fleeting thought, theory, and sketch. Enter Moleskine notebooks, the perfect fusion of classic design and rugged durability, crafted to endure wherever your curiosity takes you. Whether you're jotting down eyewitness accounts from a late night sighting, sketching an unexplainable craft, or outlining your next big hypothesis about extraterrestrial life, Moleskine's acid-free paper and resilient covers stand up to time and travel. Their elegant simplicity invites creativity without distraction, and a blank canvas for your cosmic musings. Available in various sizes and formats, these notebooks slip effortlessly into your back pocket or coat pocket, always ready when the sky unfolds a new enigma, because sometimes a great discovery starts as a single handwritten note or sketch inside a moleskin. Find your next moleskin at moleskin.com, where timeless tools meet endless imagination. And if you're in the Rockville area where I live, you can get them at Target in the office supply section. When it comes to documenting secrets or musings about the unknown, every word counts. That's why professionals across government agencies and research institutions trust Skillcraft U.S. government pens. These classic writing instruments combine reliability, elegance, and precision, perfect for these top-level UFO research notes or your personal reflections penned in the quiet of the night. Skillcraft pens boost smooth ink flow and a balanced weight, designed to feel natural in your hand, whether you're jotting a quick observation or drafting lengthy reports. Their understated design carries a quiet authority, making them a favorite not only for official documentation, but also for anyone who values craftsmanship and durability. From classified briefings to your own cosmic musings, trust Skillcraft to keep your thoughts sharp and your record impeccable. Because when you're chasing truths hidden beyond the stars, your pen should be nothing less than extraordinary. Discover the pen preferred by the experts at skillcraftpens.gov. On the frontier of innovation and global impact stands Monarch Holdings International, a leader in pioneering solutions that transcend borders and expectations. With a presence spanning continents, Monarch Holdings is dedicated to advancing technology and projects that push humanity's understanding of the unknown, supporting endeavors that explore extraterrestrial research and the technologies that might one day connect us to life beyond Earth, whether it's developing cutting-edge aerospace components, funding scientific initiatives, or fostering international collaboration. Monarch Holdings champions progress with an eye on the future. Their commitment to excellence and integrity makes them a trusted partner for those curious about the cosmos and eager to embrace the challenges of tomorrow. Discover how Monarch Holdings International is helping shape the next chapter in humanity's journey. Visit monarchholdings.com. international.com to learn more. And so we arrive at the close of this particular musing. We've journeyed together through the tangled history of lights in the sky, from ancient whispers to modern radar tracks. We've peered beyond the curtain, examining the evolving, often contradictory stance of governments grappling with phenomena they can't fully explain. We've touched upon the rigorous scientific search for life, from the microscopic potential on Mars to the distant cosmic signals sought by SETI. And we've delved into the rich tapestry of human culture, where aliens and UFOs hold a mirror to our deepest hopes, fears, and philosophical ponderings. What have we learned? Perhaps less about definitive answers and more about the enduring nature of the questions themselves. The historical record presents a compelling, if often ambiguous, pattern of unexplained aerial phenomena. Government interest, while fluctuating between dismissal and cautious acknowledgement, confirms that something is being observed that defies easy categorization. Science is steadily expanding the likelihood that habitable worlds exist, transforming the question of are we alone from speculation to a testable hypothesis, even if concrete evidence of life remains elusive. And culture shows us that the idea of the extraterrestrial resonates profoundly, speaking to our universal desire for connection, understanding, or simply a sense of wonder beyond our terrestrial bounds. The truth, as they say, is still out there. Despite decades of sightings, research, and public fascination, the core mystery remains. We lack definitive proof of extraterrestrial visitation, clear communication, or even confirmed life beyond simple microbial forms elsewhere in the universe. The absence of hard evidence is for many the most significant point. For the skeptic, it means the phenomenon likely has a conventional explanation yet to be fully understood or accepted. For the believer, it underscores the possibility of a reality far stranger and more complex than we imagine, perhaps deliberately hidden or simply operating on principles we haven't yet grasped. And that, I believe, is precisely why this topic continues to captivate us. It exists in that fascinating space between the known and the unknown, the irrational and the extraordinary. It demands a delicate balance, rigorous skepticism to avoid falling for hoaxes and misinterpretations, coupled with the open-minded curiosity about what lies beyond our current understanding. To dismiss the subject entirely is to ignore a persistent thread in human experience and a growing body of unexplained data. To accept every claim without scrutiny is to lose oneself in fantasy. The path forward lies in maintaining both the questioning intellect and the wondering heart. So I encourage you, my fellow musers, to remain curious. The universe is vast, beyond comprehension, filled with potential that dwarfs our current perspective. The fact that we haven't found definitive answers yet doesn't mean they aren't waiting to be discovered. At least it means the search continues, demanding patience, new approaches, and a willingness to challenge assumptions, including our own. Keep looking up, keep asking questions, read widely, listen critically, and form your own conclusions based on the evidence you encounter, whether that's a credible report from a military pilot or a new scientific discovery from a distant telescope. Engage in respectful dialogue, even when those who hold vastly different views. The conversation itself, the wrestling with these immense possibilities, is part of the journey. Thanks for being with me tonight. This has been a really fun topic. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please, like and subscribe to the podcast.